everybody out there in the land of WTLS Radio. I am your man, Lee. Old school stuffing right here, giving you all the good jams, making you think about where you used to be, who you used to be, who to be with, what made you laugh and what made you cry, just what made you feel good. Well, tonight we have a guest here in the studio. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we're going to get right into all about it. What's going on over there?
Hey, Lee, how you doing?
I'm doing good, my man. I need to tell the folks who you be. Who are you?
Hi, listeners. My name is Manuel Poblete. I was born in Chile, but came to the States when I was basically 6 years old. And basically grew up in D.C. and then moved to Maryland and enjoyed basically the DMV here. Started my acting professionally. And I was 98. I was actually working on Homicide a little bit and joined the union in 2001 and been enjoying the acting career. It was something that I prayed for really hard and especially when I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. You know, I was
like a lot of us,
yeah, so I asked God, I said, everybody knows what they want to do in life, and I don't know what I want to do in life. And, you know, I'm going for school, business administration, and I was like, I'm really not liking this. Can you show me the way? And basically a week later, this lady handed me a card that was for acting school. And I said, well, you know, I'm doing landscaping and stuff. I might as well take, you know, this little class. And that started the bug because I started learning a little bit. And then I, you know, did kind of like a 4-week course. And
cool.
It helped me a great deal to get into the acting. I liked it. And then I started making friends there. And then basically exchanging numbers, doing vampire films here and there. It was a lot of fun. So that's why I give back to the community. You know, I have a management company now, which is called Bello Talent, LLC. And it represents a lot of actors, models, voiceover talents. And we also help produce films.
Matter of fact, that's where I met you at, Bello Talents.
Yeah,
the implant.
The Image Plant was a company that I was brought in because I had opened an acting school in Columbia, Maryland, and that was another school where I had a different management company that I had given up. And that time it was MP Talent, but I joined with another female manager and was SEMA up there in SEMA Talent in Columbia, Maryland.
Okay.
So we worked in the Columbia Academy. And we did that for a year, but then parted ways. And after that, Frank Lama, producer.
Another good guy,
Yeah, he got me into Garden of Eden, a movie, while I was up there. And it was one of the best films that I got to work in for a full-length horror with Kevin Kangas. And it was a great film, great experience. And I helped him start an acting school, which was the Image Plant, where met Lee started right there.
Yeah, man, this dude there. He have taught me a lot. I mean, I have come a long way. I remember when I first came there and you gave me some code read, I fumbled big time.
There's a lot of actors.
Teleprompter, man, I fumbled big time. But over the time, I've got better and better. And I tell you, I thank you for that, man.
I appreciate it. I've worked with Lee, and anytime I have to do a comedy, I definitely bring Lee because he definitely can bring it on for a comedy. He didn't even have to say nothing. He just looks at the camera and people start laughing. He just has that comical face.
Well, listen, let's talk about some of your recent work because I've seen you do some recent work, man. Let's tell the folks.
Yeah, I had one of the, I would say I've worked in a lot of films. You know, I worked on The Wire, I worked on Veep. I've basically been all over the place working with stunt teams as well with Angelina Jolie. You know, I was doing some stunts with them and the last
Angelina Jolie, woo!
Yeah, I'm pointing the gun at her, she looks at me, and then this was through running, you know, through cars and stunt teams and everything. She looks at me and then looks up and jumps over the bridge. So we were there, but we paid the price the following days because our legs were killing us. But we ended up doing that, having fun, and just just recently on my birthday, I got to see myself on Law and Order SUV.
I saw that episode. I was like, look at my man. I'm just so proud of him. Wow, man. Yes, indeed. That was an awesome episode.
Yeah, and it happened right on my birthday. So I got to celebrate my birthday and at the same time have a viewing party. And I wasn't sure I was going to have a viewing party because it was like, oh, it's going to snow. No, it's going to snow. So it wasn't as many people as I wanted. But at the same time, to have your birthday celebrated, have everybody, watch it live.
Yeah, I was trying to come to that. Yeah, I was definitely trying to come.
Yeah, but you canceled on me, man.
I couldn't make it, man. I couldn't make it. Look, let's talk about, we did some action footage a while back. That was fun. That was fun, y'all. I got the chance to knock this big dude out. Y'all can see his size. I got a chance to knock him out. Yeah. But, of course, he beat me up at the end.
245 pounds of solidness. But, yeah, T helped me out. At that time, I had a management company up in New York. And the funny thing is that they were trying to introduce me to a lot of the Marvel movies, get me as a martial art master. And they were like, hey, do you have a stunt reel? Do you have a fight reel? Everything. And I really didn't have one, So I basically gathered about 5 guys to kind of whoop my ass with no padding or nothing. Mm-hmm. And I had basically Jiro Preston, which is a martial art master. He's a ninja master that trained with the 8 clans. He basically is a samurai master. And he has an extensive background because he helped choreograph and help with a lot of the stunt teams that did The Last Samurai. They did basically the Batman movie when the guy was going through the ninja trials and everything. Wow. So he's definitely has a good expertise, and he created this fight sequence where I jump in the air and then land, one of my heels on T's neck.
Break my neck, y'all.
But it was a really good reel. T helped me out with that. He came a little like Mike Tyson, and he sucker punched me when I wasn't looking.
He saw it coming, y'all. He saw it coming. But that was fun. I really enjoyed that because that was kind of like my first action type of stuff.
No, you did great. You did great.
And I like that, man.
It worked out well. I definitely still have it as one of my fight reels. I definitely want to do a new one. And I have some stuff in the works, which I definitely want to get you involved again, which is the Partisan.
And I'm ready. I'm definitely ready.
Basically 2 guys that are hitmen. They get double-crossed by a new boss that took out the old boss. And they get set up to be killed. And then they're trying to fight their way out and go after the mob boss. So this is going to be a very good film that is comical, and I definitely want to get T in one of the scenes.
I definitely want to
shoot him in the butt or something. It should be a funny sequence.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Well, listen, let me ask you. Now the Latinos, they're really coming out. They're really coming out. They're making a name for themselves. How do you feel about that?
Well, I've basically been following a lot of careers, Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, it's been select few, but lately there's been more Hispanic actors. Pedro Pascal is a Chileno, just like I am, born in Chile. He fled the same way I did from a dictatorship that was there for 18 years and started his life and career up here as an actor, as I am as well. But I've been a part of the National Hispanic Foundation of the Arts gala event that happens every year. And I've been going to that, God, it feels like 25 years. Wow. Time has flown by, but I've been there for the longest time. I bring a lot of my models and my actors, and they partake in just giving out tickets and helping out. But and then they get to party for free with me at the whole event. It's usually $1,000 a plate, so they're just coming in there having fun. So I brought a lot of my actors and introduced them to all the producers. It's the biggest thing that Hollywood has every year around, I think, close to October. Wow. And we meet a lot of producers, directors, network giants. And Jimmy Smith and Isai Morales are 2 of the actors that helped start that foundation with some other main actors. And I played Jimmy Smith's dad on Garza, and they had taken pictures of me when he was first starting that pilot. So I showed him the pictures. He he was so surprised to see me and, be in that film because he was supposed to be crying over his dad being passed, and I was his dad in the past, younger version. And Esai Morales, right now, I'm proud of him because, like I said, I've known that guy and we hanged out and partied there at those events. And he is the nemesis, the bad guy for Mission Impossible. Wow. So he's the one that's been on the trilogy as
That's
the main
an awesome
head guy.
trailer. I saw the trailer. It's awesome, man. I definitely want to see that movie. Listen, you also have a casting.
Yeah, I do casting for production companies as well. I've been doing castings forever. I got into casting a little bit as well, even though I'm a manager. I started helping people cast when I started working with New Dominion Pictures down in Suffolk, Virginia. And I would just always getting called into studio. I probably had a good look, so I was always playing the bad guy. And
you got that bad guy look. You got that
I had to wear the shades here because
police
T
look.
had the shades, so I said, I got to wear the shades. Even though my eyes are nice and green and beautiful. But so I am single, ladies. I've been single for over 5 years. So and I am a Pisces. But getting back to it, I was working in New Dominion Pictures, and I would go by the casting director and say, hey, what are you working on? What are you casting? And they was like, oh, we need to cast this, and we need this. And I would say, I got some actors, and people would give me their headshots because back in the day, we used to carry the hard copies.
Yep.
So I had a little briefcase, and I was collecting people's headshots. So next thing you know, I started getting people on the TV shows, on Discovery, on, National Geographic and everything. So their New Dominion Pictures is what started Discovery. The FBI Files, Psychic Witness, Interpol, all the new TV shows that came in for the docudramas, New Dominion Pictures created it for Discovery. So I was in so many of the shows, playing the leads. And at that time, it was like I was trying to take some acting courses, but they kept calling me. So I was already like, okay, I got to go. The instructor would say, hey, where you been? You paid for the 4 weeks, and you only showed up, barely like 2. And I said, well, I was shooting. And I would tell them, where I was filming. They were like surprised because as soon as I just started acting, I got thrown in to work with Univision, Telemundo. I became a spokesperson for English Spanish school, which was pretty amazing because, I was Americanized, so I didn't really speak that well in Spanish. So I have my mother help me and stuff like that.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Because, you definitely got a marketable look, your face, your size, you got a marketable look. So I can see you being casted in so many things, and and see you don't really have to be typecast because you're so multi-talented. You got the police look, you got the bad guy look, you got the lawyer look, you got the coach build. So you could be cast for so many things.
I did I think a little 2 years back. I did kind of like a church film. I played basically God, Jesus. So I got a wig and then I grew the beard and everything, and we were actually shooting a real laundromat. And it was, I think, in Landover. So people were washing their clothes while we were filming. This was like one of those African films. And people were like, keep washing their cycles. So I'm like, how is this, even possible? People walking in, normally on set, you have to be quiet. We were shooting because that's all we could get. But I'm there dressed in a white kind of robe, Jesus.
I think I remember you. I think I saw them. The photos of that.
Yeah, so I remember I was in the bathroom and somebody wanted to go in there, and it was only one bathroom, and this lady was knocking really hard, and I said, I'm coming. And as soon as I opened the door, she's like, Jesus. And I was like, yes. She was in shock.
I can't imagine. She said, I'm meeting Jesus for real.
As soon as she was like, Jesus, and I was like, yes. And I just stayed in character, so the lady was flustered, but all these Latino people are coming in, they're like, oh my God, de Jesus. But I had fun with it.
My gracious.
I had to use my God voice. I knew you before you were born. So I had to get that raspy, cool voice and everything. So it was fun, but yeah, I love interesting characters. I remember I got called from a lot of the film companies that sometimes it would have some of the main stars or actors that for some reason couldn't do the main show, and I would almost get like 2 days notice. Could I fill in? Because I knew that, I could memorize dialogue and come in there. I did a baseball movie, where I didn't even get the script. They said Monday, hey, can you do this? And I was like, yeah. I said, you got a script? Yeah, we're going to get it to you. I was like, when are we shooting? And I think it was like not even Thursday. And I was like, okay, can you give me a script so at least I can see?
Wow.
And I had never played baseball before. So,
wow.
And the second day, Tuesday comes up and say, hey, oh yeah, we're getting one to you. And we're not done yet. So I think almost like that late Tuesday, they were like, hey, we got a little bit, but we're still working it on Wednesday. So I had to shoot down Thursday.
Wow.
And then it was like, oh, by the way, can you do a French accent? I had never done a French accent.
Say oui.
So there I was.
Comment allez-vous?
So there I was basically looking on YouTube how to do a French accent. And I watched a little bit and I caught it really quick. Don't pronounce the TH, don't pronounce the H. Some certain things are silent.
Okay.
Instead of saying hey, it had to be hey. It was like, hey, I'm going to eat this boo. So and it was funny because my voice in the beginning while I was doing the French accent, but then it was like, why do I sound so Nigerian? So I had to soften the voice up and get a higher pitch and take the bass off. So it's a lot of fun. But I also worked on 6 Nolly films, and I've casted actors on some Nigerian films as well.
Speaking of Nollywood and Nigerian films, you directed my film, We Family, which was shot
that was funny.
Obey Joe. Mm-hmm. Obey Joe is a very, very well-known Nollywood.
Oh, yeah, very excellent director.
Yeah,
and he's the one that called me in to do the one, basically the Christmas story for Jesus and stuff. And he called me up, and I was like, I want to get a copy, because a lot of times it's hard to get a copy of your materials and everything.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I'll get you a copy. And I said, that's the only reason I'll do it. And they were shooting with the red. But the funny thing is, he was shooting another movie. So by day I was Jesus, the next day I was a doctor giving bad news that this lady had cancer, but that's what you get from African films. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, we need you, but can you play a doctor? And I was like, oh my goodness. So I play a doctor and scrubs and everything.
I mean, you were just so multi-talented, and the fact that how you directed my film. My film was in festivals.
Oh, okay.
And then the other film that you directed, we actually won.
Yeah.
I won for the supporting actor. You were nominated for the best director.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah. So you are a very, very talented, multi-talented guy. So in the industry, you're very, very.
Yeah.
You're a great access, and it's just an honor for me to just know you and to just work with you, and how far we go back, and
Yeah, I
all
started.
the accolades.
As soon as I started acting, is mostly because I make friends a lot and I network a lot. And I remember meeting this one guy. We went to volunteer in D.C. at this art gallery. And one of the guys was like, let's go over there and volunteer. I was like, really, dude? He was like, yeah, you get to eat for free. And I was like, all right, you're talking about food. So, okay, I'll go in there and should be some art gallery and get some free food. So as I was there, I met this sales guy that worked with the EFX Media up there in Virginia, which was a huge studio media company. Did a lot of corporate commercials, everything. And he said, hey, you're Spanish. We started talking. I gave him my Bello Talent, business card. And next thing you know, he's like, hey, we're working on a Spanish AIDS awareness that's going to go in CD-ROMs for all kids that are having AIDS. We did the English version, but we need to do the Spanish one. Can you help us with the script and then maybe direct it? And I was like, shoot, direct a national spot that's going to go for all the doctors and medicals dealing with children with AIDS or teens with AIDS and everything. So I said, I'll do it for them. And I've casted that, I directed that, and I even helped on the editing room as well.
That's awesome. Well, listen, now, on a more serious note, what for new people now who are trying to get in the business, whether it's acting, whether it's writing, filmmaking, whatever, what advice can you give them?
Best advice I can give actors is, now it's a great opportunity for anybody to get into the industry. The technology is so much better than it was when I first started because, we had to go to the library to see if there was anything on acting. We had to look through the yellow pages. There wasn't no Google. There wasn't no phones. I mean, everything was ancient. But now because you have your phone and because of COVID as well, you can basically audition with your phones. Back in the day, we had to buy cameras, camcorders, everything. Yeah. Now everything's on your phone. All the casting companies are accepting basically video self-tape submissions. I remember going up to New York and taking Chinese bus, taking the mega bus, Bold bus, everything. 4.5 hours going in from the Union Station, go up to New York.
I remember the rides,
walk to the train, go downtown or anything, and then basically walk about another 15 blocks or whatever, try to find this location, and literally audition for not even 30 seconds. And then you'd be in, and then start it all over again. So I was almost 10 hours on a bus, forward, plus walking, I would say almost 30 blocks sometimes. But now everything is self-tape because of COVID. Casting companies found out that you can basically audition actors through these videotapes. You can get more actors in there. You can get about 1,000 reels, and people can go through them really quick and pick the best ones, and it gives more agents, more managers the capability. I would say to actors, if you're getting in the industry now, there is so much resources. Everybody's putting out videos on YouTube, how to basically get into acting, what to do. All you have to do is do Google searches, go on that. There's a lot of, how can I say, sources out there. As long as you just search for it, you'll find a little bit about it. I use casting networks to submit my actors. The real legitimate websites that I find, because a lot of people say Backstage, some people will say Casting Frontier.
I didn't know that Backstage was still existing. I know
Backstage for the beginning actors. Backstage is not a bad resource because there's a lot of background work there. There's a lot of short films. It's a lot of stuff in New York, sometimes here. So there's a lot of people that get stuff from Backstage.
I thought about that a while back, way back when I first started. But then I heard that Backstage, they more so do black box plays, stage plays.
No, they do a lot of film. They do a lot of different industrial stuff. I mean, you have breakdown services. So basically, I run into a lot of people that call themselves managers, call themselves agents. I remember getting invited to Barbizon and them doing that and bringing the agents. And then when I asked a lot of the so-called agents and managers there, how do you submit your actors? And that tells me exactly what I need to know if they're legit or not. And a lot of them didn't know about casting networks. They didn't know about breakdown services and Breakdowns Express. So, that's what the legitimate managers use to submit people globally all over the world. That's where I submit actors globally to Mexico, to Australia, to everywhere. I'm submitting a lot of actors to TV shows, films, industrials, voiceovers, print. So it basically, Casting Networks is a great resource. You can open an account, pay through it monthly. I usually, if I decide to bring a talent in, I just need their first, last name, their email, and then I set up a profile for them. And then just get 2 pictures for free, resume, and maybe a video, and then I can start submitting them for auditions. But the main thing is be trustworthy for actors. I think a lot of actors fail because they're not consistent. And I think the biggest downfall for a lot of people not to make it in the industry, not to do well in acting or modeling or anything they do, is they always quit. They always give up before they even see any progress. And, Tyler Perry failed for, about 7-some years before he basically, could meet the right people, connect with the right people. I mean, everybody that ever made it stuck with it. So as you stick with it, you're going to get a lot out of it. And, I say to a lot of upcoming actors, just like for me, just getting a little business card opened my life, changed my life. And it basically made me who I am. If that lady hadn't given a card, I probably may have not pursued the acting, but she gave me an opportunity. And that's what I give a lot of people, opportunities. I listen to them. I'll give them some guidance, some advice. and manage their careers or help them out in a certain kind of way.
So if they're just starting out, they don't have a resume. So they go somewhere or either come at you and get their headshots.
It's so much easier now, to be honest. I'm going to tell you something on this, how can I say, live podcast that'll blow people's mind, okay? Say you never acted on TV. Say you never acted on film. Say you don't have a resume. You don't have a headshot. You don't have nothing. But you want to make money in acting. How do you do it when nobody's giving you a shot, when nobody is even considering you? And I'll give you a little secret. You can videotape yourself doing a commercial spokes, which is basically just talking about, it could be Kool-Aid, it could be anything. Make a little paragraph, videotape yourself on the phone, look right into the camera and sell it and show your smile in the eyes and have a beautiful voice and just make that little clip. Because you know what I've done for a lot of actors that some of the casting companies were not picking. I just created a simple video of them talking about BB&T, talking about a bank or anything like that. And I just put green screen on the back. There's so many programs now that you can do, but if you have a nice phone, all the phones shoot 4K. You know, get a little tripod, little stand, tape yourself, do those commercials, because guess what? Commercials are the number one thing that casting companies book. So you don't need to have a big theater background. You don't need to have any film experience. You don't need to have any TV experience or voiceover experience, but just learn to do the little commercials. And you can see those commercials on YouTube anywhere. So when you're doing these little commercials, you're just selling. But if you put yourself in two different shirts, put the videos together, you already have a little reel. And that reel will get you 80% of the work. Why? Every commercial that casting companies, one things they book the most is commercials. They don't book sometimes TV or film, they book commercials. So commercial. You have commercials on the web, you have commercials on television, you have commercials on radio. So if you have a decent voice, just make sure you articulate well and just make a simple little video like that, because I look more for that, to be honest. So if you came to me and you say, hey, Manny, I don't really have any experience, I don't have this and that, but I have the will, desire, I'm available to audition, and I would love to do some commercials. Guess what? I could be like, okay, we'll tape something. I could even show you examples of some of those little tapes. I have, if you Google my name, Manuel Poblete, on Vimeo, you'll see a lot of my videos. You'll see some of those commercial spokespersons, you know, that you can change the backdrop, you know, do Kaiser Permanente, do the Truist Bank. And it is so simple. So if you want to get your feet wet and you're an actor and this is lighting up a fire, you know, anybody listening to this, if you ever thought of doing acting, if you ever thought of, man, I would like to make some money and do something on my spare time, do commercials, because that'll start you out. And then if you like it and you make your money, you can do more. Because guess what? I had a union commercial that paid over $10,000. I had a non-union commercial that paid $10,000 just last year.
Wow.
So I had two different people book commercials at the pro level and the non-union level. And guess what? Did any of those even have experience? One of the guys was actually a podcaster like you. He never did a commercial, never did anything. And then I said, hey, you got a kind of nice voice. I put his picture, I got his stuff, and then they gave him an audition. And then he says, wow, this is a lot of copy. I said, well, download this. There's a little free app that you can do for teleprompter, put it on your tablet and read. He said, oh, okay. Then he practiced that, and then he saw the reverse mortgages with Tom Selleck, so he copied that style. And he did a Blue Cross Blue Shield commercial up in Philadelphia.
Wow.
$10,000 in one day.
Wow.
Okay. So
wow.
The other actress, I helped her train because there was a DC Media Academy. I started their acting program. There was one locally around here. And they have a film school as well where they train people for film. But I ended up helping to do some of their workshops and for the acting. And they're also big on trying to get DC here. DC Media Academy is definitely, I'm always keeping in touch with them. They like to do films. They shot one of my films as well. We shot it, you know, kind of like Office style. And I had a young actress, 12 years old. She ended up shooting 2 films. Shot with Pedro Vaggi, who was a big personality. Shot with another actress that basically runs a Comcast, her own channel and stuff like that too. So
that's awesome, man. See, so it's very, very possible, very easier now.
Much easier.
Much easier now than when we was doing it when we first started out. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's sometimes we don't know these things. So actors, kind of hit their head against the wall, like, no, I can't make it, I can't do this. Most of the commercials that I'm casting are over $1,000. I've seen some as high as $35,000. If you do a union one, it could go as high as $100,000. So the key thing is sometimes it's like, where do I start? Where this and that? And programs like this that bring people like me to inspire or connect with. I'm always looking for new actors. If there's actors that are serious, that are committed and keep their word, and that's what we're really looking for as talent reps. If you say you're going to be there, you're going to be there. If you're going to do the job, you're going to do the job, So that's why an agent and a manager are so crucial with casting companies. You can get on casting networks yourself and you can submit for stuff and you may get called, but they'll always take the submissions from the casting. Basically, the casting company will take it from the agent or manager, because there's basically that buffer zone of that person that picks the best actors and makes sure these actors are going to be on set. I just had a young actress, 17 years old, do a commercial. I had two actresses. One booked the mother role that was in New Jersey. One booked the daughter role that was 17. And I trained her privately in my home studio. And this was her first commercial that she ever did. It was over $1,500. So.
I tell you, man, you have given us some awesome information on how to get stuff done. You give us some awesome information on yourself, and again, it's just an honor and a blessing to know you and to work with you, and how much you have helped me. How many gigs you have given me.
Oh, we got one movie. I'm telling you, The Artisan is one of the movies that I'm going to help finance. It's about two hitmen. That
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, those hitmen need to shoot somebody. They're going to be shooting you. So it's a comedy. I like it.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
I can't wait to get you in there. I already told one of the producers about you because you're really good in comedy. I said, yeah, we definitely need him to be in that.
I appreciate
that
man.
shop owner that we come to. But
yeah.
It's going to be fun, man. I mean, I definitely want to make more movies this coming year. I've helped finance a lot of films and produce films, and I want to get back to doing that because I think most actors, they love doing independent films.
Yeah.
I helped with City of Lost Souls. I was the assistant director for that, and we premiered it. I think you were there for AFI. We had over 400 people there, and we ended up doing the craft services and everything. But that was a great film, and I helped that director, Jason.
One of the things that I like about you and admire is that not only are you so powerful in the industry, you're a homebody and you're a family man. You honor family. You love your family, and that's a great thing, because so many times you meet people that's in the industry, they're just so uppity, but you, although you're so powerful and well known in the industry, you're very down to earth. You're very approachable, good people, and I just appreciate you. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
You. Yeah, I mean, you have to. I would say in the industry, and when I pick a lot of actors, decide to manage them or models, the qualities that I'm looking for is that person, polite? Is that person a kind of person that I would like to cast? Because if they're arrogant or they got attitude or they're too much into themselves, if I don't want to work with them, nobody will. So I look for those good qualities, and those are the qualities that I instill in myself. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I don't, then I'll say I don't.
And I know, when I come at your house and your mom's there, you have some good food, man. That stuff be smelling good. You walk in the door like, oh, what is that? That smells so good.
Yeah, we always cooking because we were kind of raised in the farms in Chile by the mountaintop. So my cousins still have farms, and almost when you go over there, it almost looks like Lord of the Rings. You're seeing these Hobbitville, and it's really beautiful. And
that's awesome, man.
But it's nice, down there, and Yeah, my parents are basically my whole life. I mostly maintained and created my life so I could dedicate a lot to it. That's why I don't have children. I'm not married, and I've been focused. So, in case I need to fly out or go to Cambodia or Africa to shoot, then I'm very flexible. So a lot of times when you decide to pursue at the pro level, you have to make some sacrifices or just not put so much weight on yourself that you can't really just travel or go to auditions. Because going to New York was so much fun to do Law and Order, going in there with the stars and going toe to toe with them. It was very demanding, and
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, listen, we're about to wrap it up, but how can we get in touch with you? Give people, your Instagram pages and all that stuff like that.
I have a Bello Talent Instagram, but I'm very private because I don't like hackers or spammers. So all my pages are private. I got off Facebook because of hackers and stuff like that. People ask me to buy them cars. They were all when they see me in so many red carpet premieres and they see me with celebrities, they're like, "Oh man, can you buy me this truck?" And I was like, "Say what?" These are just pictures and stuff. So I got off Facebook. I've been on Facebook, I don't know, 7 years or whatever. But I am on Instagram. I do have a Bello Talent Instagram, and then I have a private one, Manuel Poblete Hollywood. At Instagram, but those are all private. If you're trying to friend me, you got to let me know who you are, what you're about, because a lot of times people try to get you into crypto or in spam or they want to copy all your friends. And I have a lot of directors and producers on my basically on my page as friends, so I try to keep them safe from people trying to reach out to them, because I do have a lot of big time directors and big time producers. That are on there, and I don't want people to have access to them. They would, be spamming them. But they can reach me on my website at www.bellotalent.com. That's BELLO talent.com. So, but you could Google my name. I'm Google famous, as one person said. I didn't have a business card. I said, "Well, just Google my name." She's like, "Oh my God, you're Google famous." So
I think I've done that before too. I met someone in the store. I said, "Well, you can Google Wtls Radio," and I said, "Wow." I said, "Or either you can Google Lee Sturtevant." Oh wow, Google, yeah. So it's a good thing.
But yeah, I mean, I'm very private and very selective. I train people privately, so if I had this one actor that came, he went to DC Media Academy, and at that time I stopped doing the 6-week program, and the owner called me. He says, "Man, there's this guy, he really wants to do acting and this and that, and we don't have the acting course, we had the film course, but you were teaching the acting, you took a little break." So I was like, okay. I said, "Well, we'll give him my number." And so I ended up connecting with him, because he was very adamant. He wanted, to develop more in his acting. So I started training him privately, and little by little. And then he was given an opportunity. They had shot almost like a Tyler Perry movie during the stage, and they decided to want to do the film, a full-length film, which was a huge script. And he was supposed to play the lead, and he says, "You think I'm ready?" And I was like, "Nope." I said, "If you can't memorize this monologue that I'm telling you to do, you are nowhere near ready." So it forced him. I taught him how to do memorization techniques and everything. And he just finished doing his film and playing the lead role on a full film with actors and cameras and everything, and it's going to be on Amazon Prime.
I tell you, man, you are a good coach and a good trainer, and again, I appreciate all the help that you have done for me in my acting and just schooling me on things, what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, and all that. And I appreciate that. So that's why it was an honor when you agreed to come on my show to just talk about all the good stuff that Mr. Manuel Poblete.
Yeah, I mean, I keep a small circle of actors that I basically like to work with. You're definitely one of them that I have high on my list when it comes to working together, especially when it comes to acting. And, I involve you in anything that I have, from fight reels to acting and stuff like that. And definitely want to involve you on the artisan film that we want to do. So But yeah, I always say to a lot of people, keep a small circle of people that are constantly going forward and doing things. People that are constantly, positive, friendly, happy, and they want to do things, and then you'll go far, Because now, whenever I shoot a film, I pick my own crews. Who's going to be my cinematographer?
Yeah.
Who's going to be my audio guy? And then I make movies a lot faster that way because I don't have any issues or people not showing up, and so that's why I just say, you're one of my people that I keep in that small circle. That anytime I have something, I say, hey, I pick up the phone and say, hey, Lee, I got this project. Are you available? Can you come and do it?
And I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Well, I tell you, I definitely appreciate you spending time to talking to us. I just appreciate everything, man, because you just a good dude, man. To tolerate a little old dude like me,
whatever.
I'm
Your
a
studio's
nutcase.
growing. I've been admiring this beautiful studio of yours, and it's.
Well, I appreciate that.
The last time I came, I think it was like a quarter size of it. Man, a little boombox on here now.
Yeah, I appreciate
it's
that.
It's beautiful.
And I have the other studio up in Baltimore on Security Square
Oh, okay.
Boulevard, Security Square Boulevard in the mall. And we got much more space. We got
This
space
is beautiful,
for
and like I said, I saw you on that movie premiere, Judah, and yeah, that was nice. You had a little setup there, doing the interviews, the red carpet. So, yeah, I mean, I think everybody helping each other in the community, going to these red carpets, supporting each other, for a lot of these films. Yeah. I mean, just the Annapolis Film Festival had over 72 films. It's amazing.
I tell you, man, I'm grateful, and it means a lot. The fact that my growth, you were pleased with my growth. That means a lot because no man is an island, and the fact that all of what I've learned. Now, although I've been doing audio for years, way before I met you, but just now that I've met you, I've learned about not just more audio, but I've learned about video, the cameras and the lighting and all that. So you have just helped me so much, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful, and for you to find, as they say in church, find it not robbery to spend time here
I appreciate it
for this interview.
I've been asked to do a couple of podcasts, and I actually turned down a couple of podcasts because I had that time I was a little busy, but then I never got around to it. So you're my first podcast that I've done in a good while.
Wow. Well, I'm honored. I am honored. Well, let me see. That's a wrap it up. So we're just gonna wrap this thing up. Okay. Well, before we wrap it up, I had another question written down. I forgot my question that I didn't write it down, but I lost it in my head.
Talking about the private stuff with the law enforcement stuff.
That's it. Yes, that's what it was. I didn't write it down. Yeah, you were telling me off air how you have trained a lot of people, law enforcement and all that.
I do acting every week because I also work with the Secret Service, Department of State. There's live acting that people can do that's fun, and it keeps you a flexible schedule that you can do. I mean, I've helped train with the academies for the DEA, FBI, U.S. Marines. I've been doing it for the longest time. It helped me train in weapons, tactical stuff, raids. I always play sometimes a presidential candidate and escorted in limos and give speeches in different hotels and get shot up at.
Wow.
But those are fun. They pay really well. I've gotten other actors in there because when actors are doing acting, sometimes what happens is they can't get away from their regular jobs because a lot of times they're like, well, I have a full-time or part-time and I can't take off any time because it doesn't allow me to do my acting. This is another helpful thing, do role-playing. You can look in Indeed, you can look at a lot of places, and role-playing basically is you're playing a role that could be anything that is helping to train, either law enforcement or anything, the Postal Service that does law enforcement. You have Capitol Police down here in D.C. you have so many places that do role playing, and you get into it, and next thing you know, some people love it, and some people can do their acting, because if I have to work tomorrow, like when I had to work in New York, I told one of my supervisors, I said, you know what, I got to work this, do these, and they replace you, but it's no biggie. But I do it mostly for the fun, and I do it because at the same time it helps them out. And I got a lot of my friends, the actors, doing role playing in Beltsville, Maryland at the Secret Service Academy, and they love it. And then they're able to pursue their acting. They make good money, and then at the same time they become better actors because they're having to play so many different roles, and it's live.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So does all of what you do, does that hinder your personal life at home? Because you're gone a lot, and your mom and your dad and all that.
My parents are the only thing that I really have in my life, and sometimes they're in Chile with my brother for a good while, and sometimes they come here, and I make sure because they're over their 80s. So I appreciate them the most. I try to take care of my mother and my father. Care for them. So that kind of gives me a flexibility. But we have family around here, so in case I needed to travel, out of country or anything, we have relatives that can step in there and help them out. But they're mobile. And my dad still works at 84 years old doing landscaping.
Wow, that's a blessing.
And making money. I helped him, with some of his yards and stuff. But family is very important. I mean, family will never leave you. Family is especially if you both have a strong bond, they're always going to be there. And I've always been there for them, and they've been my biggest supporters for my acting.
That is so true. Family is so important, and we celebrated Memorial Day yesterday, and my family, we were talking about not only just sharing memories of the ones who've lost, but we've shared memories and laughter and great times with those who are here.
Yeah.
I come from a large family of 8. Now we're just down to 3, myself and 2 sisters. And we value that because as you said, family is just such an awesome, powerful thing, man.
Enjoy them because, we lost a lot of people with COVID. I lost uncles, I lost friends, I lost 2 acting friends. And it just, you never know when somebody's going to be gone or somebody's not going to be there. So I would say, take the time out, go get a bite to eat, share some memories, tell them how much you care for them, because you just never know, when they'll be gone. My mother, all her brothers and sisters are gone. She's the only one, and I think there were over 10 of them.
Wow.
So it's just like she's the last one, and it's, but it's you just gotta really value and enjoy life. Go out there, do things, and nothing is a failure. Everything is a learning experience.
Exactly. Yep.
So just have fun, enjoy.
One of my sister's friends, she's an older woman. I think she's like 104, 114, and she asks, what is the secret to her long life? And she said, just laugh a lot. I said, well, I might have lived a long time because I'm always finding laughter in something, because I'm just a nutcase. So laughter.
I'm always laughing, and I'm always joking, and I've always been the class clown. And before I even did acting, or entertainment industry, I was always trying to make people laugh or going out there. I didn't know that acting was going to be my trade and my passion, but I guess once you see a talent, or you see somebody as a performer, or you see somebody trying to make other people laugh, or you see somebody acting out, that person is probably going to get into the entertainment industry and be successful, because it is usually in you. And a lot of times, once somebody can discover that and put it out there, or give you the opportunity like it was given to me, you will shine.
Yep. When I first met you, and what broke the ice was, we were taking photo shots, and you told me to take a Tic Tac.
No, we were taking a picture, and then T was there smiling with his big gap in his front of his teeth. And then I looked around and said, does anybody have a Tic Tac? I wanted to shove it right between T.
So that way they told me this guy is okay, because he didn't know me, I didn't know him, he didn't know how I was going to take that, but because You know, I'm just a laughing guy. I took that so funny, and that broke the ice, and that threw me right there. This is a good guy. He's a cool guy. He's not afraid to just break that ice. So yeah, man, laughter is something awesome, awesome. All right, now I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We have talked quite a bit, and again,
I'm glad, and like I said, I mean, this is a great experience. I'm glad you do this for the community, and you know, people get in here and be able to express themselves.
Yep.
And reach your viewers, and you know, people can actually learn something.
Yeah,
because it just starts with planting one seed.
That's right.
You plant one seed, and that seed could be something that could be opening your mind or something you were thinking about, and then just because you heard it and somebody inspired you, and next thing you know, it planted a seed that will grow into a huge tree. And
that is so true. And I guess that's what you did. You planted the seed in me, because before I met you, I was just doing stage plays. Mm-hmm. And a mutual friend we have, Carmelita Payton, she introduced me to you. She told me that she had a photo shoot with you, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I came with her, and that's how we met. And that seed grew into, I've done a lot more, not only stage plays, but I've done movies, indie film, television shows. So it's just a blessing. So yeah, you're right. That seed grew into so many things, and I'm grateful for that. Grateful.
Oh, you still got more to do. I'm telling you, because I've told a lot of people that I think you're going to be one of the top comics and comedian actors.
And I was honored when you said that. I was honored when you told me that you said that. I'm like, wow, thank you. Coming from someone who's
I've met a lot
so
of
talented.
Actors, and I've met a lot of comedians, and I think you're going to be one that's really going to come out of this area and be in the film industry.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, you guys, I'm your man, Lee, Old School Stuttering, right here at WTLS Radio with our guest interviewee, Mr. Manuel Poblete, the awesome actor, casting director, photographer, trainer, acting coach, just a good all-around dude. Again, we thank you for your time with us. All right, so y'all be good. Now, y'all know what we say on our show. Y'all be good. But if you can't be good at it. Peace.